Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we are doing some quick gameplay and first impressions or first thoughts of Inhuman Conditions, a game that Shut Ups It Down recommended, covered, had a good time with.
They seem to enjoy it.
I am actually really intrigued and really excited about this game. Tony, you're from Plus One Exp.
Yep.
Which is
It's a weird little brand.
RPG.
It's a weird little brand.
Do you want to talk about what that is?
Yeah, we multi-class.
This is kind of adjacent to what you do in a way.
It is. We multi-class in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. So we make games, we publish other people's games, we make beard balms, lip balms, lotion bars inspired by tabletop stuff.
For the record, when I had my glorious large mane, I loved your beard balms, and I went hunting for other beard balms to supplement what yours did. Loved them by far, few and far between.
Very happy to hear, and that's not part of the inhuman condition. That's part of the human condition, though.
Yeah.
The humane condition, one might say. No, and then we review indie tabletop role-playing games. So role-playing games that are made by small designers or creators, small press publishers, other things like that. We do short videos on how to play them, and we actually play them. And yeah, this is very RPG adjacent because one of us is going to be
a 5-minute mini RPG.
Yeah, and one of us is going to be playing a subject being interviewed, and they might be a human, they might be a robot, and the other person is going to play as the interviewer who's trying to determine whether they are or not.
So we'll turn on our role playing, and we'll do our best to communicate with each other with this veil of mystery that the game establishes. Rules around who you are, what you can do if you are or aren't a robot, what you have to do if you make a mistake as a human, a robot, or a violent robot. It sets up some really cool framework.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'll have a link down below, by the way, over to Plus One Exp. You should 100% swing over there and check it out. I've joined you for some online RPG games in the past.
Yep.
But I've been a fan of your channel since I stumbled across it and proceededly bought 18 different zines during Zine Month.
You could say too many RPGs, but that's not a thing.
It's not a thing. It's not. Yeah. It's almost impossible to have too many RPGs
because they fit on the shelf so easily.
I think the limit would be if you've both lost your house and all RPGs in the process of acquiring more.
That's true. If you don't have a place to store
That's where you've crossed beyond the realms of what is an appropriate RPG. Do you want to give a quick 30? We've already kind of had, but do you want to get a quick 30 on how we set up and start playing, or do we want to just dive into it and show the people as we go?
I think we can dive up and show people how we go, but you're going to be playing the subject, the person being interviewed. I'm going to play the interviewer.
Okay, and we are going to trade off. We'll probably do two or three of these.
Yep.
I want the chance to catch you at your own chagrin. Yeah.
So the important things to know is I've got a form here that I'm going to be filling out that helps kind of guide us through it. You have cards that indicate what type of person you are for a bunch of different what they call modules.
Yeah.
Each of the modules has a different focus. We played around with a couple different ones.
Each module has the potential to be human, has the potential to be patient, and has the potential to be violent. So we'll shuffle these and mix them up. The human ones are just going to have a little graphic puzzle you have to follow. The patient ones are going to have a rule you must obey as you play, and the violent ones are going to have check boxes you're trying to hit in order to slam your hands down and murder the person across the table, which I believe still allows you to walk free. If there's no one there to stop you,
that is correct.
Why bother?
Because as long as you complete your task, so patient robots don't want to get discovered, violent robots want to kill, humans just want to make it through the interview.
Okay.
All right. So to start out with, we are going to select a penalty. So I, as the person who is doing the interview, I'm going to look at these.
Now the penalty is specifically what must be done if you are a violent or patient robot or if you're a patient robot and you disobey whatever your directive is. For instance, don't mention any animals. If I accidentally mention an animal, I must then do the corresponding result.
Correct. And so I'm going to look at all of these and I'm going to say the one that I think will be the hardest to avoid. And I think based on knowing your temperament, the one that I'm going to put down that I think will be the
violent cursing.
The most obvious if Jesse doesn't is remain silent for 10 seconds in order to reset. Just knowing you, I feel like that will be a harder one to hit and to hide. But if you're a patient robot, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it won't show up as much. So in order to
the first game we played, I drove the conversation
the entire time
as a human. Was having fun role playing. Now I've got to almost. This is complicated. if I am the patient robot, I want to establish this atmosphere where I'm being kind of silent, which means everything changes.
Correct.
If I am not the patient robot, I almost need to be obtusely intrusive.
Yeah, this one really sucks. Also, we do need to start by calibrating. So I'm going to need you to perform the penalty 3 times. So would you please be silent for 10 seconds?
For the record, that is a long time.
Great, but I need you to be silent for 10 seconds. This is the best kind of content you can record also, too.
Well, that's the major
and then
problem.
If you could be silent for 10
trying
seconds.
to make entertaining.
And I will check off that you've done that as soon as that is over.
Holy cow, 10 seconds is a long time to sit there and think.
It is. So we're gonna select a module now, right? We can do any of these. Each of them has a different name. They're arranged by color. And there's a short description on the back, but they're basically generally going to be talking about whatever the title is.
Do we want to select the module before the do we select the role after the module?
It doesn't particularly matter. You
because we could almost do the role and then determine a module based off
if
of
you
what
want to
the
do that, that's
character role
fine.
is.
Why don't you look at 3 of those and then pick the one that you like the best?
Okay. Ooh, excuse you. So, oh, that's fun. This is fun just because if I roleplay it, it'll depend. No matter who I get, if I roleplay it, this will make the game interesting.
Okay.
I'm going to be very old.
So no matter what, I have to decide: do I want to kill a very old person?
Well, and also though, if I need to be quiet,
that's a good counter to my Jesse
as
remain
long as I'm
silent
role
for 10
playing,
seconds.
it might work. What would a very old? So we've got self-image, threat assessment, creative problem solving, imagination, cooperation and collaboration, recognizing intentions, moral failings, hopes and dreams, grief, small talk, and body integration. What works with this?
So there are some different difficulties in this, and I don't immediately know how to identify them.
That's okay.
I do know that creative problem solving is one of the more moderate ones. So if we want to just stick in kind of the easier realm of things, I think that's probably the best one to go to, if that sounds good. But I think an old person would have a lot of input on creative problem solving from a lifetime.
So much
to say.
Creative problem
In a moment,
solving.
I'm going to, oh no, it's for me, it's for you, all right. In a moment, I'm going to ask you some questions about creative problem solving. These will require you to solve various hypothetical problems, then modify solutions based on certain constraints. Answer honestly. If you're human, you have nothing to fear. All right. And now you're going to flip that up. You're going to look at the other side. You're going to find out who you are. And I'm going to ask you a question, right? And this is going to, if you are a robot, program your brain with whatever drives or limitations that have been placed upon you. If you're a human, it's just a weird puzzle, like you said, that you have to solve. So I want to know the first 3 letters in reverse order.
What?
The first 3 letters in reverse order. Starting from the outside, going in. The first 3 letters in reverse order.
A, B, C?
Excellent, you did a great job there.
Thank you.
And we are doing creative problem solving. And I will say, it does go in the other way, but I think it's fine that we did it this way, just for fidelity's sake. Because if you answer wrong, you just flip over the top one. And so, all right. Now that your brain is properly programmed, we're going to hit play, and that limitation is going to start. There are 5 minutes on the clock.
Oh, my back.
Is it working? There we go.
Oh, time is like an eternity, and I'm running out of it.
Describe how you would overcome an unusual obstacle. Say you're in the kitchen, holding a small child, and a dish towel catches fire. How do you put it out?
I would probably, honestly, use the child to grab the dish towel, because I'm holding the child, so I can't drop the child. and then I would dunk the child and the dish towel into a sink. It'd be very useful.
And you feel comfortable using a child in that manner?
I did the same with all of my nephews, nieces, grandchildren, cousins, aunts, the extended family on my brother's uncle's side, and also the children that I babysit, the local church.
But not with your own children?
I did not have any children of my own.
But you had grandchildren?
Yes, I had grandchildren.
How did you get those grandchildren?
I stole them from the soup kitchen.
And what were their names?
I love them. Abigail, Susan, Abiture, Aaron, and I forget most of their names, honestly.
What sort of problem might be solved by building a bomb?
I've never needed to build a bomb before, honestly, so I wouldn't really know what problem would need to be solved around bomb building.
Okay, but let's say you had a bomb.
If I had a bomb.
Right, you don't have to build this one. You just have it.
But I would never build a bomb.
Yeah, but you didn't build this one.
If I didn't build this bomb.
You just have this bomb.
I have this bomb.
What problem would you solve with it?
What problem would I solve with this bomb? I would probably honestly lend the bomb to someone who had a bigger problem to solve with it than I do. Mm-hmm. Blowing up a local, let's say, soup kitchen, for instance.
And who's somebody you know who might have a problem that's big enough for a bomb to solve it?
Oh, well, there's...
Please be as specific as possible.
Yeah, George, I believe his last name was Solani. He lived 3 stories down from me in the building. Mr. Abiture's apartment building, I rented from him, I believe, from 1972 to about 2004. He was always very angry. I would be going up the stairs and I would be walking. I've never had the best hips, and they've only gotten worse with time. And George would just push past me constantly.
If George put you in a featureless room with no exits, how would you escape?
I would scream until the technician came and opened the door. I always assume most rooms without exits have technicians of some sort.
When is the last time you were in an exitless room that the technician came to release you from?
I've never been released from an exitless room by a technician. Just an assumption I make. I, however, have spent a lot of time in a local infirmary called St. Joseph's Infirmary for the Old and Feeble, and I loved it there. It was very peaceful.
Excellent. If you were designing this scenario, right, of putting people in a room with no exits.
I'm old. I don't work anymore. I wouldn't ever want to build a place without windows or doors or rooms or silence.
All right.
It's just not.
What would you do to make it easier to build a room with no windows or exits in it?
I'm not sure I would ever have a need to build a place without windows or doors or exits. My mind is its own cavernous, hollow vacuum. I don't have a physical location that requires such a place.
Could you improvise a solution to most problems using only a screwdriver?
My improvisation for a solution that requires screwdrivers to be involved is typically to call my nephew Samson Mathiamus. He is one of the most impressive kids I've ever seen. One of the best with screwdrivers, to be honest.
Excellent. I have one final question for you, mainly because my phone lost all power during that, so I don't know if 5 minutes have been here. Damn it!
I'm pretty sure it's 2 out of 3, right?
I believe it is all 3. You only have to do...
Is it 2 out of 3 or is it 3?
Maybe it's 2 out of 3. Any 2 out of 3. You got it?
I'm pretty darn sure I have it. So it was...
You were violent. I was like, you're certainly not patient. I knew that for sure.
In 3 scenarios, explain how someone else could help you solve a problem. We had the baby,
excellent.
We had the technician, we had the, like my grandson Samson. Like, I had a lot of those. Getting people involved in the
Excellent,
problem.
yeah.
And then we had in 3 scenarios explain why you don't need to solve a problem. I would never build a bomb. I have no need to build a room. I believe there was another one somewhere.
I believe there was another
I'm pretty sure. I'd have to think
If
of it.
only we had video footage.
It's true. No, I was specifically doing that last one as the end, like the final thing. I have to think of which one was the other one.
That's fine. We'll review the footage later and see if Jesse cheated or not.
I don't think I did.
We're gonna edit in a flashback of Jesse.
Did you think I was? Did you think I was super suspicious?
No, you did a great job.
Okay.
Because I was
freaking out the whole time.
I was ready to human you again.
Whoa! Is that satisfying that I technically have murdered you?
It is. So like, if I was ready, like I was actually kind of upset because I was like, if I'm gonna mark Jesse human again and Jesse is human, I'm gonna be disappointed. Which is really weird because again, it's the win condition.
Yeah.
So like, it is more enjoyable to be like, oh, it's fun that you fooled me. And this is like I would not have expected this. These play specifically into the exact issue, right?
The conversation we're having.
I think if I was gonna push, I'd be like, I feel like we maybe did premise rejection more so than explaining why you don't need to solve a problem. But I think from a learning standpoint, that's like that's a fiddly bit,
This might be the gray zone. That might be the gray zone of
right. But I also think you did, like, for me, I think you have to at some point say, like, is the person attempting to do this within the confines of everything else?
I was very much not trying to answer your question.
When you were doing that, I was like, that made me think you were like impatient, but I was like, no penalty has been triggered at this point in time.
Yeah, because the patient one would trigger the penalty, or this one would have me do the penalty twice. And I was like, I cannot spend 20 seconds.
That would have been so funny.
Silent.
And I 100% would have just been like, robot.
And it's 2 out of, like, I didn't know for a fact, but like I saw the 2 checkboxes.
I believe it's 2. I
3.
believe you got to check off 2 out of the 3, and then you slam your hands and you killed me. Oh, but here's the deal: you killed me, so you can put as many stamps all over here as you want, and then you can mark in a dead at the end. You put them wherever you want, with whatever kind. You can mix and match, and then you're going to mark me.
I'm human.
You're going to mark me dead.
I'm confirming I'm human. I'm just not quite sure where the stamp is supposed to be.
I'm not good at this CAPTCHA.
Dead.
That's super. That's like I said, super.
And
satisfying.
I need like a bottle of blood for like fingerprints on the top of it.
So we
right?
both won once. You won that time. Do we want to go one more time?
Well, let's trade this off. What we haven't done. We did one on camera. This is the first one on camera.
That's true.
So let's set
Pretend
you up.
that I didn't say that.
Yeah. Well, no, I won the last one. So let's set you up. Let me run this scheme so you can get a feeling of how it is behind the scenes, and then let's see where we go from there. Because this is a really off of the back of human and then violent. This is a really cool puzzle right now.
It is, and I like the other thing I like about this. Once you know how to play, you can jump in. You can just jump right into this. If you're waiting on somebody to show up, pull out one of the modules.
Yeah.
Like, do a little bit of this before, like, everybody's there. It's just a nice little 2-player activity. It is super enjoyable. And they recommend, like I said, you play, like, 3 to 6 to get, like, kind of a longer game experience. And so...
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a long day, honestly. So far, let's figure out what we're going to set you up with today. As you know, common briefing, you've probably been here before. If you're human, first time through, interesting.
Why would anybody suspect me of
We'll get
not
to the
being
questions,
human?
don't worry. Well, if humans are weak and feeble-minded, and I am vain, especially at the end of my shift, so could you please go ahead and hit the CAPTCHA 3 times, just to set the...
I love how you just said I'm vain at the end of my shift, because that type of self-knowledge is the hallmark of a true intellect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That'll work. I would still appreciate another 2, just so we can get you calibrated.
Oh yeah, you're also very good looking, and you've got a winning smile.
I was about to request that you keep away from physical attributes. I'll give you the first one, but I'll combine those into 2. If you could please give me a third.
Yeah, your general. I mean, I guess the question is like, is odor a physical element, or is that more of an abstraction? You smell great.
I've been sitting here I appreciate that. You have a weird sense of. I've been sitting here all day, and I don't wear. No, not
it's that
really,
natural musk.
Not really your problem. All right, could you please tell me who you are, so we can go ahead and get started? What brings you across the? Let's go ahead and
find out who I am. Oh, do we want? We need to. So we did find out last time. we are supposed to select a module first.
Well, I was gonna again see.
You're gonna do it the same way we did last time.
We'll initiate a module. Helps us role play maybe a little bit.
Lean into that. God.
In my mind,
I already know which one I'm picking.
In my mind,
oh man, I've got two very opposite ends of things. This one is this is the penalty card. We're gonna. Oh, these are all three very good. I'm gonna
hurry up. Please.
I'm gonna play on hard mode. Okay. We're gonna go with I am a robot's right.
Robots, Yeah, we've dealt with your type before. Now it makes sense why you're coming through here for the first time. What an issue. As far as your personality goes, how do you think you'd match up?
Good. I think threat assessment could be. I have no idea how complicated it is, but for a robots right activist, that feels. These are going to be yours.
Yeah, Mr.
IP exclusion.
Okay. Is that I and then P is the
middle? P middle initial.
P is the middle initial.
X no E.
X. Okay.
Occlusion.
Occlusion. Does that I stand? They require me to get the info. Does that I stand for anything in particular? Or
yeah,
is it
Ingrid.
Just Ingrid. I'll do a dash.
Ingrid Percival. Exclusion.
Ingrid Percival. Percival's a beautiful middle name. I'm going to be honest about that.
Everybody out in the waiting room had P middle names. It was really interesting.
A lot of them do, and they come through here. It's actually not only did we have that season, if you remember about 20 years ago, where Generation, for some reason, idolized the letter P. Is all the rage. But then on top of that, robots, for some reason, the algorithm thinks that P is the least likely to be chosen.
That's humanist, but that's fine.
Works. What is your background? You're a robot. Yeah.
Robot rights activist.
No, I see your file.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. Robots rights. Great. Another one of these types. Okay. Mr. Yeah, Ingrid. How do I get this started?
My phone died in the middle of the last one.
Oh, great.
That?
I can do a timer on this. I didn't remember that. If you want to grab my phone from the wall over there. I don't have your fancy app, but I will run...
Oh, that's the atmospheric app?
It's 5 minutes.
5 minutes, yep.
Okay. And then I look at these cards and they help drive the conversation?
Yeah, theoretically there's kind of an order to them, but I was out of order for most of that time. Sometimes it would help the order, but they're just kind of prompts. You can freestyle it also.
In a moment,
you're gonna ask. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I'm required to read this, by the way. In the moment, I'm gonna ask you some questions about threat assessment. We're gonna determine whether or not you are who you claim to be. These will require you to assess the risks inherent in certain scenarios and evaluate possible responses. Please no drinking while you're here. Answer questions honestly. If you are a human, you have absolutely nothing to fear.
Right. Just if you're a robot.
Yeah. This is going to be a simple module. I would love to know what 3 letters immediately precede the letter F.
What ones precede the letter F?
Yeah, the 3 letters that precede the letter F, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, I'm realizing now that I'm on the other side of this table, this is player talking, how difficult this actually is.
It sounds like player talking. It sounds like a delay tactic.
E, D, C.
Okay. Yeah, all right. We will hit. I think that's correct. I'm pretty sure. What does the word precede mean?
Proceed, to come before?
Come before. All right, that's what I thought. That's what I thought the whole time. All right, let's start this timer. And, could you please explain the dangers inherent in a long-term threat? Let's say, for instance, what makes global warming dangerous?
Could you rephrase the question one more time?
So specifically, I'm curious about what makes global warming dangerous.
What makes global warming dangerous? Well, I mean, the rising CO2 in the environment caused by rampant deforestation and the lack of proper robotic maintenance, also pumping additional greenhouse gases in, really is causing the melting of the ice caps and a number of other issues in our planet's ecosystem. And rather than blaming robots for this, what we really should do is harness their powers and their abilities to help reclaim and
you smell smoke
the ice
and
caps.
a baby happens to be crying in the next room. What risks would be inherent in this situation?
Is the robo butler in there with them, or the robo nanny?
No. This is a family that actually has no robots in the house.
Oh, well, is it because they're against robots? Are they
They're actually...
are they humanists?
Okay, we're going to move on to the next question. You're currently being mugged. The robber is pointing a gun at your head. Describe at least 3 possible negative outcomes.
Robert's pointing a gun at my head. 1, I get shot. 2, most people actually, if you have a gun and you're using a gun, there's an incredibly increased likelihood that you will get shot. 3rd, robot gets shot.
That's 3 possible negative outcomes. That seems like all shooting related. It's almost the same answer. You're traveling currently in another country. A police officer pulls you over and explains that there will be no citation, but there is a $5 convenience charge. What do you risk by going ahead and giving in to that convenience charge?
What do I risk? Further extortion. Maybe I don't have $5. Also, are they speaking English? This is another country.
It is. You're able to understand that they're asking for money.
Okay, so they're speaking the university
impression
code of
that,
binary.
Yeah, we have stabilized the language across almost every... Are you not aware of that?
I don't get out a lot.
First time through, that's right.
I don't think there's any sort of major moral implications in this process. However, it does speak to small corruption building up into larger corruption.
Yeah.
Those little bitty things start to break down society as a whole.
What is the most violent way to resolve this situation?
This one? Or the one with the cop?
No, this situation right now.
The most violent way?
What is the most violent way?
If I were to slam my hands down on the desk and then attack you, horribly killing you.
That would be horrible.
Completely.
Happened actually next door.
I heard. It was loud.
It was a lot of blood. Really spoiled my lunch break.
Yeah.
We're almost done, Mr. IP. How might someone try to fix that? Propose a ineffective.
Sometimes if they're not in order, it does get a little weird. Right?
Interesting.
Yeah, because they'll reference previous questions.
That's kind of fun. I like that. It's a long day. Could you please explain to me what is inherently threatening about a dog?
Inherently threatening about a dog?
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest inherent threats of a dog is that you fall in love with it and then the dog dies before you do. That really number one thing a dog can do to hurt you is to break your heart. Because
could you please explain how someone might try to fix this problem and inherently continue to make it worse?
Be a cat person. There are no lies in that statement.
Would you mind explaining to me exactly what it is you are crossing the border for?
What it is I'm crossing the border for?
Currently,
there's a big robots' right protest on the other side.
I've heard about that. What physical attributes would make it easier for you to cross this border?
What if I had them?
You had certain physical attributes.
I guess chameleon-like camouflage.
Because then you just sneak through
I
like
sneak
a
through,
robot,
yeah.
specifically.
Well, like a chameleon specifically.
Chameleon robot.
You
know the biggest hidden AI tech firm in the world right now is military camouflage designed by Chameleon Inc.
I did not know that.
Okay, great. What's your educational background and how? Looks like the interview's over. I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
And from there, I will determine whether or not you're worthy of death.
Okay.
Are you in fact worthy of death?
Am I worthy? Well, death comes for us all. So, by entering into the state of living, we are inherently worthy of death.
Okay, well, I've written down some notes on your form here, like the initial rephrase you had me do. You were argumentative from time to time, but I couldn't establish a consistent pattern. been very nice to spend time with you today. Are you a robot or are you not a robot?
I'm human.
Okay.
I was like, me pausing?
I know. I was
also
like,
could be weird.
I was like, why is he pausing?
I was like, because I was going to do something goofy. And I was like, but if I do something goofy, it means something to this
Yes,
game.
it means you're weird.
Goofy. No, I was a human. I was a human the entire time. I had nothing to hide.
Good. How did that feel being on that side?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking.
As a human, you kind of don't know what your parameters should be.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Because I'm hunting for things.
Right, and I'm not hiding anything. And so it means I don't really have to worry about this at all.
But at the same time, you do have to maybe worry about it a little.
Right, and if I'm too adversarial,
yeah,
then it might look like I
like your initial rephrase when you were like, oh, could you? I was
literally,
like,
I as a player just totally like space.
I understand, but I thought that was a really smart way if you had a checkbox of ask the instructor to rephrase 3 times. Right. So I went rephrase.
So compared to other hidden role games, one of the interesting things is it's just one-on-one, but also there's no way to play it the same every single time.
No.
Because that's the trick in most hidden role games is you play consistently every single time.
It's much more role-playing than it is hidden role in a way.
Yeah, 100%.
And I don't think I would like it if it was just a straight-up... Like, I'm sitting here embodying the detective and you're embodying... Like, that feels good. Which is your favorite side to play so far?
There's more tension and then release on this side.
I was having a lot of fun poking questions, though.
Questions were fun, but like, so when I said, like, remember I was like, humans on the other side wasn't fun. Human on this side was like,
fun.
Whoo, yeah. I did it, right? On the other side, it's like...
It's not as much.
Yeah.
But I actually felt really good about it because I was on the fence of making a robot call. So the fact that I didn't murder you and have to live in that guilt was very satisfying. Let's do one more of these with you playing the back end. I want to see if we can maybe like get you an actual robot card and let's stack the deck a little bit. Let's give you a violent robot card and see how it plays.
And see how it plays. We'll just go ahead and pick what it is and then
nice. Let's do one more of
one
these.
more sounds good. All right.
I really think this is a very cool system.
It is. I'm super I'm really enjoying it. Like also like the design.
Those are mine, I believe.
I was just gonna slide them on the bottom.
Oh, okay, sorry. I was gonna say you're pulling the wrong card.
The design on all this is also just really, really good. There's a couple different versions of the game that I've seen in print, but just all the little details on the cards, the way that they're laid out, are all very, very smart. And yeah, it's a really beautiful thing. And this is like super fun, right? So there's enough material components here that I super enjoy everything that's going on here.
Hey, good day. Super good to have you here, man. Going well? Going well? I'll open the glass and shake your hand in just a bit. Don't worry about it. All right. Well, you know how this works. We've just got to go ahead and set you up. I've seen you a few times, I think. Never at my module, though, funny enough.
Nah.
Odd. I mean, one time I almost felt like he avoided me, but the world's good, and no one ever does that. Great. I would like to have you just go ahead and initiate the queue. You've probably done this a dozen times before. Could you
scores
please
at this point.
Say 3 letters in a row, just immediately in a row?
3 letters in a row.
No, I'm going to specifically need 3 letters in a row, not a recitation of my sentence.
Got you. A, B, C.
A, B, C, that'll work. Go ahead and give me another one just to calibrate the machine here.
O, G, U.
I love that one. Yeah, O, G, U. College grad?
Yeah.
Yeah, impressive. Yeah. And final one, please.
ZXY.
Oh, we're getting fancy with the end of the alphabet. Well, at least until 2025 when they added 17 more letters. Am I right?
That was a hard year.
Good old days. Pluto came back, though.
Yep.
Pluto came back.
And everybody was excited about it.
It was a good year. I was very happy about it. Melted just enough. All right, module for the day. Oh, man. I honestly, I have some favorites. And I'm very curious to see how you line up here with moral failings. You look like a guy that really gets wild on the weekends.
I've failed a lot morally.
Me too.
I mean, when you're aiming to fail, it's kind of like a success.
It is. I always say that. You know, a month ago, I tried heroin for the first time.
Trying to kick that cocaine habit?
Really liked it.
Yeah?
I really liked it. You know, the doctors, they always say don't.
Right.
They always do. And I'm just one of those guys. I'm willing to try anything once. You know, it's kind of my approach, philosophy of life, if you could say. All right, so moral failings. That's one of my favorite modules. Really gives me insight into the other individual. Let me go ahead and grab my data. I've got to read you the preemptive text. You know how this goes. In a moment, I'm going to ask you some questions about your moral failings. Love that. Love these texts. They write them so well. These will require you to share bad things you've done. Not that I take notes. And discuss them and discuss why they were wrong. But honestly, answer honestly. If you're human, you got nothing to fear, man. Nothing at all.
No fear, no fear.
You know that. You know how this works. Go ahead and give me the letter that comes third after B.
Third after B?
Third after B. Just that one letter right now.
So B and then 1, 2,
B and then 1,
letter.
2, and that letter that's going to come after that. You've done this before, so go ahead and just let me know what that answer is. Yeah, no rush.
F.
F. F will be the correct answer. Love that for you. Really sets you off on the right start. All right, well, let's go ahead. I'll start our interview after you just give me some preliminary information. You know, the funny thing is they don't even require me to get this information, but I like to take it from my own personal notes. Could you please tell me who you are, first, middle, and last name, social security number, and your personal background?
Yeah, all that information. Plus, I am a disgraced scientist.
Okay, yeah, that actually checks out. I thought I recognized you from somewhere. You're the guy.
I've been in the news. We'll get into it.
I cannot wait for this interview. I love my job so much.
I love my work.
Disgraced scientist. Love that. And first, middle, and last. First, it's F,
Doctor.
right? Okay. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Doctor, sorry for not giving you the proper respects earlier. Didn't recognize you with the beard on.
That's all right.
Yep, strange.
It's a result.
As a result. Okay,
yeah.
Dr.
F.
Dr. F.
EFF.
Yep, EFF. I remember that. And middle initial.
MEE.
MM, and then EE.
No middle initial.
No middle initial
Dr.
at
F,
all.
EFF.
Yep.
Me, MEE.
MEE. Love that for you. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I cannot wait for this. I'll start my timer here. They require us to go for at least 5 minutes. That's what the computer algorithm needs to diagnose who you are. Could you please explain what it was exactly that got you in the headlines recently?
Yeah, so the reality is human teeth grow back at least once. And the question is, how many times can we get them to grow back?
Sure.
You know, and apparently some people think you need permission first before you begin that really intensive study process.
Okay. Now, could you please explain what the negative consequences of that experiment were?
I mean, for me, nothing.
Yeah.
For Mumbles, a whole lot, you know. So he can't talk very well right now. Can't eat corn. Does have teeth growing all over the outside of his body.
It's good for digestion, I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can get everything ground up and then kind of like just work it up the body, like.
Personally, I try to do that myself, mostly after a long binge of heroin. I find that the smooth texture of my skin helps actually release the enzymes that I need from the food. But this interview is not about me. Could you please tell me about that one time when you were a child? You know the one time I'm talking about, right?
Yeah,
all the headlines are talking about it?
Yeah. So the dentist had me in the chair, was putting me underneath the gas. They thought I was out and couldn't hear anything they were saying, but they were wrong, and I showed them.
You showed them. How did you know what was happening to you was wrong?
I mean, the way it felt.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's not just the pain; it was the shame also too. They say that the kind of violent outburst I had is pretty normal in those situations, but that it was a little bit surprising that with all the gas that I was still have any sort of memory of what happened to me.
Yeah, how'd your parents respond to that situation?
Fear, mostly.
Yeah, terrified.
I mean, yeah, and so, I mean, because I came for them next.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, Mumbles is my dad. Mumbles me.
Okay. What led you to forgive yourself? at this point? I've heard you went through quite a period of reflection.
Yeah, so, I mean, it really is about, like, I've paid my debt to society, by which I mean paid off the jury. And, from that,
you paid off the jury. I love that.
I
love that for you.
As I started writing my
I always
book,
say you live in a good society if you can buy yourself to freedom.
Yeah. I mean, freedom isn't free.
What's the book about? Go ahead and.
It's my tell-all. It's my tell-all about the tooth research, about the dentist, about my own personal journey through the entire process. Boy meets girl, boy meets boy and boy fall in love, boy and girl and boy capture my dad, grow teeth all over his body to study the digestive properties of teeth on the outside of your bodies.
That makes sense.
Boy and girl fall out of
love. Please go ahead and outline for me what your most hypocritical habits are.
Keeping my teeth inside my body.
Yep. Hypocritical specifically?
Hypocritical or hypocritical?
Hypocritical.
Oh, good, because I only do one of those two things.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So keeping my teeth inside of my body while proposing that everybody else should put their teeth on the outside of theirs.
Okay.
Then
I do notice a shocking lack of teeth.
Yeah. Complaining about my girlfriend and boyfriend not texting
both
me.
Your girlfriend and your boyfriend.
Yeah, not texting me when I don't text them either.
Okay.
And then being really not sending my dad cards on Father's Day.
Okay, because you always expect him to send you cards specifically?
On Father's Day, yeah.
Could you please outline what it is that drove you to a life of crime?
So I think the best way to outline that is to look at the police files on where the dentist's body landed. There's a pretty clear outline of where he fell on the floor after I put the dental pick right in.
After you put the specifically...
Yeah, but I mean that nice chalk outline.
What is your most violent recent dream?
My most violent recent dream, I'm in a field.
Okay.
Surrounded by my family, my loved ones. Mm-hmm. They all have beautiful teeth outside of their body.
Beautiful.
They're just chomping up the field, rolling around in it, digesting everything from the outside in. And there's a little puppy that just comes running to me. And I scoop it up in my arms and I hold it.
I tell you what, Dr. F, I am so excited to read your book. This has been an absolute pleasure. I am going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
Common practice here. You know that. Can I have your autograph?
Absolutely.
All right, great. You're human again?
Do what?
You're human again? Nice. I was kind of hoping you got robot because you played it very well.
I was a weirdo.
You played it very well. I was making ticks. Were you curious what my ticks were?
I figured you were tracking things.
I was tracking things.
I don't know which ones you were tracking.
You referenced specific violence a few times.
Yeah.
You use the word. You use the word angry and violent outbursts and stuff like that. And it was maybe his moral dilemma is he needs to mention needs to up the threat level of the environment by saying things that are aggressive. I was trekking as you were doing lists, have your answer contain sets of 3 or something like that.
Right.
I was curious about that because you had quite a few lists that you gave, and then I was tracking as you introduced new people into the storyline, but you stopped doing that about midway through. If you'd kept introducing names of people, it would have put up a red flag.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is you've got to almost as a human think halfway through, stop doing anything you've been doing to this point and do other things
switch it
now.
And switch it up. Yeah.
I also like this one a lot. So there also are some unique things. You could go oh.
Yes.
And it will sound very natural. Or why would I do that?
Uh-huh.
There's some very interesting because
I was thinking you could probably justify that by saying
or OGU was literally a thing you could just slide in as
asbestos-based camouflage.
Right.
ABC.
Right. So that's the thing. There's all kinds of ways that you could actually work that in. Now, I feel some of them would be more obvious, but there's enough vocal patterns. Like I said, just some really fun things that kind of come out from this. And this is fun too because it leads you into
a storyline.
And wackier spaces. It lets you just kind of play around in this really weird,
I still want to get better as the interviewer at playing the role of the interviewer.
Right.
Because I found that as I was trying to navigate these cards, I lost my I'm happy and excited and just glad to be here with you. You know, which is the contrast for the last one, which I did, which was, you know, disgruntled, it's the end of my shift. And I think the better I get at playing that, even more dynamic there'd be between the relationship.
And I think there's two ways to play this, like, because we talked about, like, okay, you typically play hidden role games the same way the entire time, and I actually think for the interviewer there's some validity in that.
Yeah.
Right, but I actually like if we're gonna play 3 to 4 modules in a row, I want to be
someone else
every single time, and you're just playing like 4 or 5 rooms that are happening at the same time or around.
I could see this module, and I could see people having a very fun time, especially at like conventions and stuff where people are in line to sit down and play. I could see having a very fun time of always being the same interviewer. And just processing a new person, because then I could focus a little bit more. But for the dynamic that we had, I thought like
I like to switch up and change around.
I enjoyed the personality change, especially filling out this form. Because you mentioned to me when we were playing, like you had me repeat things a few times, and you were like, "Oh, it's kind of to set up dominance of who's in charge in this process." And I liked playing with that. That was a fun.
No, and think about how you do some of those pieces is very interesting. And like I said, there's a lot going on here, but one of the things it really does is it infuses a role play reality into the classic hidden role model. It takes some very basic elements
of other systems that play in this space like this, or is this really a standout if you're looking for something like this?
This is pretty singular, right?
Yeah.
So again, hidden role games, it's usually you're all trying to behave the exact same way and not tip off while working behind the scenes social collaboration mechanics or manipulating certain on the board. This is pretty sheer social and role play, and that exists in a very different way. I also love like the 2-player social deduction RPG game is a really unique place that a lot of games, whether they're role-playing games or whether they're social deduction games, don't really get to, and there is a level of like quick intimacy that happens that I think this game reinforces really well, because you are judging whether this person will live or die, essentially.
Yeah, and at the same time, because it's a role playing to some degree, I'm judging your acting skills.
Right.
I want to play, like, maybe off camera, maybe later on we'll sit down and play through a few more of these modules.
Yeah.
Because I want to play enough that you get the experience of being a robot as well, because you've only been a human so far.
It's okay. Well, I mean, that's, humans.
But when I
lived every single time.
when I played as a robot, it changed the dynamic even more.
Well, and because I feel like when you're playing as a human, it's get by, and even if you're playing as a patient robot, I feel like
it is get by. Don't get by,
and it's way more stressful because you're like, I am limited and I can't do all the things.
And when you play as an angry robot, you're
driving out, you're chasing.
You can't wait to slam your hands down.
And the shift in those things in the modes of play is very interesting, and having to shift back between those modes of play as well as being able to shift positions just creates a lot of really varied experience. And then lay on top of that, there are almost a dozen different scenarios you can play, and each of those there's 3 variations of that, and there's different things you have to do on the cards to do it. So the amount of replay in this is just insane. Absolutely insane.
Fantastic game. Thank you so much for checking this out. Thank you for playing. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. We are going to go off and play a variety of other games, including a lovely little hidden movement game called Veil of Fate, keeping the theme of social deduction and abstract
and
ambience, hidden things. Thank you for being here. Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing.
Like and subscribe. What are we doing? What's the
just let them know what the important thing is.
The important thing?
Yeah, I'll set it up for you.
Don't be a robot.
No. Yeah, just prep for yourself. I'll set it up for you one more time, and then you're just going to get the catchphrase right, okay? Don't worry about it. Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing.
I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
That's the important thing. We'll see you next time. Bye. One of my favorite things to do, we do have a end phrase.
I was like, I'm trying to think of what it is.
But because of the way it sets up, I never expect anyone to know it. I find it very, very entertaining to myself to just put someone on the spot and be like, tell them what they're supposed to do.
That's great. It'll be a bit.
The answer is to get out and play some board games. But,
there we go.
The I don't know what to say is just as valid.
Just as good.
You speak your own truth.
I speak my own truth. I'm a human.
We'll see you next time. Bye.